see, are we up and running? Yep, looks like we're up and running. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode of Concept Art Design in VR with me, your host, Seth Rutledge. That never gets old. Okay, cool. So, again, we're continuing the week's theme of using the Reckless deck to create prompts for us. And I've been pulling 4 every day from Clark Huggins' amazing Reckless deck, which has been great for coming up with some ideas. And today we got one reuse, which was Ravine, but we have Ravine, City, Prehistoric, and Fungal. So mushrooms in a ravine with a prehistoric sort of city. The first thing that came to my mind were like the cliff cities of the American Southwest First Nations people, or in Turkey they have a bunch of those as well. So something that was kind of built onto the sides, and that's all very deserty. So a damp fungal something like that could be kind of neat. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to turn out, and I didn't get a chance to find a heck of a lot of references, so this is kind of all going to come from my head today. So yeah, we'll see. One way or another, it should be interesting, right? I'm going to go down here, and again, same way I've been starting out with a lot of these, I'm going to go to Scout's wonderful custom stamps that she created that are free. Just go get them on Gumroad. Just look for Scout and Oculus medium stamp, and you'll find it in Google. And I'm going to decrease my res once, and I'll do it more in a bit. Okay, so we're going to do another ravine, but this time I was kind of thinking maybe from a POV of looking down into it. We did from down inside before with the desert cave one. So this time I was actually thinking we might want to go another direction with it. There's our ravine, and then something like that's very straight looking. I think I might need to do a bit more work on it. Can I shrink it down more? Yes, I can. This is, as with always, just kind of my initial sketch idea. So this is not supposed to be high res in any way, and I'm going to lower it even more, I think, to build on top of later. But just something to get us started. I think we're going to try to keep the scale fairly establishing shot on this one. So we're not going to get into a lot of human-sized detail. I want that a bit higher. Let's go set our alternate tool to move. Grab it. Bring up the inner radius. Active layer only. Bring it up. And turn around. I think at this point now, it's low enough res that I can't just use the move tool. I kind of have to move and fill a little bit because we're breaking the geometries. But I think we will use the move tool to help establish where we want things to be. It's just an easy way to drag things around. Yeah. Let's fill back. We're very small here, in case you didn't realize. Let's have it curve around. Nice curve like that. Grand Canyon, this is not, but something kind of just neat and interesting. And I'm kind of thinking of it from, although I haven't explicitly set a viewing direction yet, we're like looking at it from up on top here down into it kind of thing. What will we see? Some little like crusty mountains as well. So even in these, if you look at the Grand Canyon, it's not flat. It's like a mountain range that just kind of meets in the middle. So there are these like bumps and things like that. Also, same in, it's also like, this actually kind of reminds me of the valley in Yosemite, which is another neat, kind of cool space for this kind of thing. I actually like those plates overlapping like this. It kind of feels like tectonic plates here, which is neat. I think so. A lot of that's going to smooth out when I lower it down in res one more time, but we'll go with it as much as it sort of stays. So we won't spend a lot of time keeping it at this level, but we'll remember it in case you want to add that. And we're not going to be afraid to keep things 100% smooth here. Okay, so we got a nice ravine. It's kind of looking cool. I like it from that angle. I like it from this angle too. Feels neat. Let's drop it in res one more time, see what it does. That's fine. It's looking good. What are we at for the quick save? And then export, and we're at 83,000 polys. Nothing! So this is super small today. Might even be a little too small, but okay. So if we're like this, and a human scale is literally tiny at this point, so we're like walking through. I'm thinking a human is like smaller than that, like that size. Fill in where the decimation messed up our geo. Sure, I'll find a couple other spots later, but it's easy to fix. You can see just how low res and crappy this is. This is not in any way looking finished, but that's fine. That's cool. I have no issue with that. All right, so there is our ground plane, and I'm actually, just for the heck of it, let's paint it a nice desaturated brown. It's actually not that desaturated. Let's paint it brown, just so we know what our ground layer is. I think that'll help us as we move forward. And sometimes it shows you things you don't see otherwise when it's just the white. Okay, so there's our start. And if we're thinking we're going to look here, where we want to put, I think the next thing to do is to put some city stuff. Let's go to new layer. Let's start building in. So there is, and incidentally, that is flat. So the angle is like that right now. Because this is our cross. Yeah, so that's up and down right now, which will be important. Let's go back to a brick. And let's go to continuous. We're on. Let's leave line constraint off. And stroke tapering to none. And change our color to just a gray for buildings right now. And we want to have some things like that. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of for buildings, right? Is like there. Yeah, I'm liking that. So human scale would be, again, like that's about a person. So someone's walking across that. Maybe make some slightly bigger ones here. And some things coming out the side. That. So this whole area, we're going to say, is riddled with caves and very porous ground. So into that space, people came and they said, hey, let's build homes that are kind of protected from the environment. And we're not going to go down into the valley because I think that's where our mushrooms are going to largely be. And this is not a desert environment, but it's going to be fairly wet. So like we'll have some riverage down here, which would be a good space for people to, get their water from, which is something you always want to kind of have in the back of your mind when you're thinking about a civilization, particularly a prehistoric or relative. I hate using the word primitive. It's so arrogant, but a primitive society that doesn't have electricity and that kind of thing, just to keep. Yeah, okay, we're still basically pointing upwards. I really wish there was a vertical lock on this tool. I'm hoping that they give me one with the new version when it comes out in a couple weeks. They have sort of promised some cool advances, and that would be an amazing advance. Some more here, but again, no lower than that. And then up here, just a section of houses that can come up out of the ground. And those are small, so let's actually make them a little bit bigger. My human scale may even get a little smaller as I go through and look at this. We're not 100% vertical in a lot of these. That's okay. I just kind of want to feel city-like from like back here, and I kind of think it does. That's looking good to me. And cool. Yep. And we're thinking in the design sense. So start with big shapes, and then medium shapes, and then small shapes. So the big shapes here are a large part just our ground, and soon to be, and our medium shapes are going to be these buildings, and we haven't even messed with the fungus stuff yet, but that'll be there. Those are all very plain looking buildings right now. Do we want to do something cooler and different? That's another big building. Maybe it's a little too big for this scale. Let's see, if this is our village, then maybe up here and actually make something. So we're still relatively vertical. I think that's how we're going to call it. Then in here, some kind of a like tower, like a castle sort of thing. So this is going to be where, in the event of an invasion or whatever, this is where you'd go on this side. Maybe the mountain, we're not showing the mountain on the other side, but maybe the mountain just dips really far on the other side. It's just a cliff. So that's how come it's protected across here. And then big tower there. So again, small, medium, large. Yeah, I'm liking that shape. That's cool. Am I am on my own layer, right? Yes, I am. But all this is still just on the single, like we haven't upped the res on it. This is just the default starting res. So it looks kind of blobby, but that's fine. I like it like that. Let's go back to, see if I can find a neat primitive shape. Let's go throw a triangle on top there. So it's gonna get that tower. Some might argue this is no longer prehistoric. They can bite my shiny metal ass. That I think we don't give ancient cultures nearly enough credit when we're making things. And that just because they built it in stone by hand doesn't mean they didn't use shapes other than lumpy squares. In fact, we're going to give them No, wrong shape. Right shape. Let's go with a big old bridge. Across to the other side. Just ran into my couch. So we got a bridge. Yes, liking it a lot. And then make a couple. Yeah. Arch there. Arch there. And then we'll go back to our square. Like that. So now it goes across. Yep. On this side, do the same thing. So now we have a bigger building over here too. And a couple smaller ones. Hanging out over the side. So that's really starting to feel like a city to me now from back here, which is kind of where I wanted it to look like. So we're looking at it like this. That's working for me. Again, still have not messed with the concept of fungal, and which we could do a couple of different ways. One, I think, is going to be through texturing. We're going to, instead of it making it brown and gray, there's some holes. Buildings there. We'll use sort of a more fleshy looking texture. I think that'll help a lot. But I do want to have some giant mushrooms just because I feel like it's cool and it's neat and it's sort of a fantasy trope that I enjoy. So we'll increase the city along here. Maybe we need another bridge across from here. There. Just something goes out. Again, visual interest. Give it a bridge there. And remember, most of this stuff we're going to say is happening underground. So they don't need a lot of roads and stuff out here because this whole area has tons and tons of cracks and fissures and things like that. So actually kind of cool, but and by keeping our polys low, it keeps our shapes lumpy, which helps add that prehistoric look, you know, the not super machined look. So this is where how we're looking so far. What do we feel like? Kind of liking this as an angle maybe to think about that we're going to look at. So we got some buildings over here we can see just for scale. Add a few little things. This is a neat shape, so we can make it different there. Goes across here. Yeah, this might be our POV spot. And if this is our POV spot, that's looking good. I think we want a little bit on this side of this thing. Like that. Let's go back to square. It's just easier to control. And then maybe back to our pyramid. A couple of those are more interesting looking. And also kind of attaches it from that castle. So yeah, so now when we look at it this way, feeling pretty good to me. Feeling pretty good. Let's quick save. Get an idea where our polys are at. 250,000. We have done nothing poly-wise. This is super low res. This is awesome. I have been making these giant models lately, and it kind of feels good just to do something rough. And it gives me lots of space now to do other stuff. But again, we want to remember that this is the angle we're thinking about. So we don't need to get too close to little things up there, because there's not going to be a whole lot of them. But here, maybe we want to put some things, because we have some high detail things here and some of the similar shapes and colors on the other side. Our brains will fill in the difference, and then it'll kind of look like it's all over everywhere without us having to actually do it. So let's put some rocks in. Just here. I'm going higher res. Increase res, increase res. Rock. Let's make it down a little bit more. And actually, just so I can keep track, let's grab a different color. Yeah, so now it feels like a rock, and I don't think of it in the same way as my buildings. So I'm looking at here. Be a good time to fill some of those like weird poly screw ups from having it be low. So it's like that. A couple rocks. Yeah. Grab a different rock just for visual interest. This is very porous looking. That's cool. Yes, this is kind of shroomy actually. Yes. A couple of those here. Just like that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we're looking across. There's our angle. Whoa. I think I've lost my vertical. Oh, well, I'm on this angle. That's different, I guess. Okay. So we're still vertical. Looking good that way. A few other rocks. Some things like that. Okay. Now, let's go another new layer. Use this twice. And go grab some mushrooms. I think I had in the organic. Yes. View comes with a couple pretty sweet looking shrooms. Let's go grab a color. Just disgusting. And I'm going to go to single instead of continuous. So here's our some shrooms. And I don't want to mess up my angle too much. But we got some shroom action over here. Those are big too, right? Like if those are buildings, that's like 4 people tall. That's cool. Let's throw a couple around there. And even there. Okay. There's a little bit of our mushroom forest on that side. And then over here, let's put a couple as well. Mushrooms kind of do that sometimes. I like the way it looks. They grow together. Go back to continuous now and set to scale. It'll help me change up and make some different looking shrooms. Like that. Okay. So building our mushroom forest. There we go. the heck was that? Oh, weird looking. Kind of neat for a stalactite, so I'll have to remember that for later. Okay, so we got mushrooms going around. Okay. Just lots of little shrooms. Some just for the fun of it growing sort of more sideways. And then maybe along the cliff wall, there's a whole patch of mushrooms there. So they're not all just individuals. I like that, actually. Let's do more of that. Thinking about big shapes as well, so it's reading along. Cool. So like I said, I've pretty much decided what my POV is going to be, and that's up here. But just to make it a little bit more, I don't know. Let's try something here. Let's duplicate this layer and drag those things off like that. Okay, and turn it. Let's see if I can. There we go. Now, underneath, I'm just gonna erase all these extras that I don't need. Save the polys. But now, kind of got something like this, and that's looking through. And I like this. There's some big ones there too. Mushrooms everywhere. So the ones near the village are smaller, maybe they've been harvesting them, and the ones out here are bigger, which is cool. Some giant ones over there. Yeah. Yeah, see? No, that's looking good. Let's go to another new layer. Increase the res. And I know that there's at least one more mushroom shape here that comes with, so let's do that too. Just throw a couple of these in. Like that. Just to have a little bit more variation of shape. It's looking good to me. Looking really good to me. Alright, so let's see. So I'm sure we're still really low on polys. So we could spend a lot more we at now. 3 mil. Yeah, nothing. So we have the size to make this a lot more detailed and bigger if we want to. On the other hand, we want to remember that this, excuse me, just from my eye, this is just concept art and doesn't need to actually be super complete at this stage. So if we can get it done in 20 minutes, there's no need to think that it's wrong and we should spend more time on it. So stamp a few there. A few there. These may well be exactly the same texture as the other one. I just want a different shape. Yeah. Okay. And then sort of same thing here. Continues again. Just to give it a bit of that interest again. Okay, so that's how we're looking. I'm actually really liking this right now. I think this could be really neat. It's probably not going to look amazing straight out of the render. This one might take a bit of painting, which I don't know that I'll do today or not. But I think as an idea, it's certainly got some merit, and I like the way it's coming together. So yeah, I think just to make my life a bit easier, I'll go back to the first layer, and I'm going to drag the ground a bit more, just to give me a bit more space, so that I don't have to worry as much about going off or seeing off the page, so to speak. Like, yeah, okay, now it looks like a mountain off the side if I do look that way. Okay. Could do a few more rocks around this tower here. That might not be a bad idea. What layer is that? 3? Yeah. 3 is our rock layer. Okay. Let's color. Select rock, and then go back to our rocks and select that. And let's put a few in here, just to again give us that sense. Something for our eyes to look at, and just a little bit of difference in texture too. That's looking good. I like that. Let's do it here. Fill in that space. And have it go out. Let's see. No, I keep going up. There we go, like that. Here we are. Rock there. Sure, okay. Digging it. Digging it a lot. I don't know why. I'm probably never going to look on this side, but just in case I do decide to move my camera angle. Got a few rocks over here now. Actually, I don't like that one, but there we go. Yeah. Yeah. Quick save. This is what it looks like from on top. So looking down, there's our map of the whole space. It feels like a city to me. That's ugly, but whatever. That's fine. Well, it's just I'm paranoid. Yeah, no, I don't have to worry about it. Yeah, so top, we got our castle, we got our buildings. I want to make sure we can see our bridge because I think that's a cool idea. I like that going across. Maybe a few more mushrooms down in here. Let's see if we're looking at it this way. So I'm kind of angling here. Yeah, I think a few more mushrooms. 4. Select our Pepto Pink again. Grab our mushroom shape. Make it down. There we go. Okay, so now we're looking at it from here. A layer there. So that's how I'm thinking about it right now. Let's save her out. Yeah, so again, our 4 prompts were Ravine, City, Prehistoric, and Fungal. I think we've hit those. I think once we texture, it's going to really hit it. But I think we've hit that reasonably well. I can't remember that. Saved and export. We're at 8 million polys. That's a good number. So, like I said, this one's going to take a bit of texturing in KeyShot to make those things read like buildings. We're going to need to find some like holes and stuff just to make it work right, but no problem. I'm going to do that. I'll post it up on Instagram, and you can see how it looks as a final sketch to take to a director or a producer and say like, hey, is this the kind of environment you're looking for this civilization? And if it's not, I mean, we'd used a morning making it. It's no big deal. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe there. That's my archive. If you're watching on Twitch, said again, subscribe. But I do this, at least for the moment, every morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I guess I said yesterday, I just took a job at a studio for 2 months starting next week, so that may change my time a little bit. I'm still gonna try and do them. It may not be every day, but we're gonna make sure they happen. But either way, it'll get archived up on YouTube, and I'll keep you guys updated with my schedule for how it's gonna be. Thank you to Clark again for the Reckless deck and the idea behind it. And thank you guys for watching and supporting me. I appreciate it, and I'll see you later. Okay, bye-bye.